Okie dokie. Let's keep going. We're learning about the truth about the Galactic Federation of Light.
Little galaxy here, right? Usually I'm dealing with not the universal one that's like way in the center of the universe. I deal with the Galactic Federation of Light that is specifically for this galaxy. That's usually who I talk to. It's cool. So typically I channel the Palladian, I call them the Security Council or the Peace Committee. They like calling themselves the Peace Committee. So it's basically about 10 Palladians who are a part of a council, but there's a lot of councils out there in the Galactic Federation.
Okay, so if I understood where we picked up just now, there is actually multiple federations, but she only deals with the federation in our galaxy. And she deals with the Security Council for our entire galaxy, who are like 10 or something Palladians. Okay.
And this Palladian peace treaty or peace council basically maintains peace on the planet and then also peace within this galaxy. So they've told me about the
Peace on this planet. They're doing a terrible job.
volcano erupting in Hawaii. They told me about the giant Arctic ice shelf that broke off. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that these are predictions. I hate using the word predictions, but these are things that have come through me from them, and then I've told humanity about it. And it's interesting because when I started traveling, 2 weeks ago, I got a bunch of messages saying, "Oh my goodness, Elizabeth, are you traveling because the big one is about to hit Los Angeles?" And no, I didn't leave Los Angeles because I was worried about the big one, the big earthquake. If I knew any of that, I would for sure tell everyone that I could possibly tell because I want to keep you guys informed and updated. And one of the other
But only after I've booked my tickets because I don't need the prices going up. Sorry.
just kind of going off on a off topic, but one of the other biggest misconceptions that I receive from clients and then also from followers is that I hold back information, right? So a lot of my clients are like, "Hey, like, did you know something and you just didn't tell me?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm 27 now. I'm 27. I don't purposefully hold back on information. I mean, it's not up to me as a 27-year-old to determine what you deserve or don't deserve to know. I am a straight conduit channel and I will just give you whatever you need to know, right?"
AKA, it's not my fault if I got something wrong or something that I say doesn't make sense and you didn't have all the information, you made a bad investment and lost all your fucking money. It's not my fault. I'm just an open channel for the Palladian Security Council for the Galactic Federation of Light. Also, I'm only 27.
So just know, guys, like I don't know anything you don't know. There definitely are a couple of big pieces of information that I know that I have not disclosed yet because I'm not supposed to disclose yet. So, but that will come in time, and you guys are getting really ready for it. So I'm super excited about that.
How can you tell anybody's ready for it? How can you tell? Do you know any of these people that are in your chat? Like, I mean, dude, come on, look at this shit. This is crazy. Do you know any of these people? Do you know Cosmic Lightning or Polio the Arcturian or Kirkplane? Kirkplane? Do you know Kirkplane? Juju Cakes? I'm thinking doubt.
Okay, so the Galactic Federation, as this government, universal government structure, they really only exist, okay, because of imbalance. If there wasn't the binary of the light and the dark, then we wouldn't have any sort of need for something called the Galactic Federation. We wouldn't have a need for a government structure. We wouldn't have a need for a structure at all. Okay, so just know that. Yeah, just know that the Galactic Federation is to keep and maintain balance. They have a set of rules that they have to.
They sound like Jedi. It sounds like you watched a bunch of the like prequel Star Wars movies and then had an ayahuasca trip on a trip in Peru and came back with like Galactic Federation of Light. I know all about it, guys, because listen, I'm just awakened like that. It's fine. Hang on, can I do this real quick? Yeah, I can. Yeah. Here, I have a gift for you guys. There you go. Yay! That makes me happy. Cool. Actually, you know what? That's the thumbnail. All right, there's the thumbnail. Got it.
Abide by. To be honest, right? Just like our government has a set of rules, and they don't do very well at abiding by that set of rules. But our government has a set of rules, and the Galactic Federation, the GFL, has a set of rules that they have to abide by.
Okay.
And so I've learned about some of these rules because I've worked so closely with them over the past, number of years. Okay, so yeah, so one of the main rules that the Galactic Federation always, 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 always abides by is the rule of non-intervention. Okay, now the number one thing that I hear when I tell people about aliens and interdimensional beings and the fact that they really exist.
I have a feeling, and maybe you should place your bets at this point. I'm not really sure, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a really big logic problem here in just a minute. I don't know, man.
And whatever. Okay, it's like Elizabeth. There's so much corruption on the planet. There's so much bullshit that's going on here. There's so much nuclear warfare and projection and propaganda and corruption. Why don't the aliens, right? If they're really as good as you say that they are, why don't they just swoop on in, and help us out, right? Like, why don't they disclose themselves and help us, consciously awaken? Like, why don't the aliens do something, right? Why don't they show themselves even? And
Uh-huh.
honestly, it's the law of non-intervention. The Galactic Federation.
You mean would you call it maybe a prime directive, maybe? I mean, I'm just spitballing here. Do you think you can maybe call that, like, the directive that is the most important, like a this is so great.
They are legally not allowed to
Legally?
intervene into humanity. They
Legally?
cannot come.
What do you mean legally? Is there like some fucking galactic watchdog group with an oversight committee that are like, hey, we went through and audited your, I don't know, galactic peacekeeping. Or maybe it's like internal affairs, but for the Galactic Federation of Light. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on this too much or anything because this is fucking great. But this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Who watches the Watchers? Who enacts a law prohibiting the Galactic Federation of Light from intervening?
Come down here without us asking for them to come down here. That's it. And they just can't come here unless.
Like, see, okay, this doesn't make any sense, but like over here, my boy Robert Romero, he says they can't interfere because we are still low vibration 3D. That makes more logical sense than they can't legally because legal reasons. What? To who? There's a big gap there. In order to enact like a law on that, we would first have to have some understanding that there's something above the Galactic Federation of Light. It doesn't make any sense. Good one, Robert Romero.
We ask for it, and there aren't enough conscious people yet. There's not enough conscious people on the world to ask for them to come down. Now, hurrah, luckily, we've got the whole Area 51 movement. I mean, I'm so excited about this. And no, I don't want to invade Area 51. No, I don't want to storm Area 51 and see them aliens. No, I don't want to do that. But what that tells me is that in a matter of days, we can get over 1 million people amped up about seeing aliens. What that tells me is that people are ready to expand, and they're ready for cosmic disclosure, right? The more
people buying into a meme means they're ready to pull back the curtain and we can take our rightful place in the stars.
more of us ask, hey, I wonder if aliens are real. I think I'd really like to see them, right? Like, seriously, the more and more likely it is that they're actually going to come to this planet, right? So we need an overwhelming vibration on this planet, and we need an overwhelming number of people to raise their vibration to ask for that in order to bring them in. Okay. So they will.
Sure. Fine. Sure. I'm gonna just go ahead and leave the whole legal thing alone. Like, yeah, fuck it.
Will not intervene unless we ask for it. And likewise, myself, I learned this years ago. With friends and family, I would always give and give and give so much advice and information, and it was never well received that I got to a point where I'm like, I'm not going to give.
Probably because everything that you were trying to like convince people of was insane. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. But, I've dealt with people like Elizabeth quite a bit in my life where they're like, look, I have this secret knowledge. I understand the thing that they don't want you to know. And they get really, really pissy, and you're like, that doesn't sound real. And it's really only because their delivery is so ridiculous, or because it's kind of a disrespectful thing to ask somebody to believe in something that is preposterous. It just is. It's kind of disrespectful. Hey, I want you to believe in something abjectly stupid. No, I don't want to. Well, you should, because I know. Okay.
Give anyone any information or advice if they don't ask for it, because that tells me that they're ready for the information, right? So at a vibrational level, we have to ask for the interdimensional cosmic alien disclosure to happen before it really does happen. And it's solely because the Galactic Federation abides by the main law of non-intervention. They're simply not allowed to intervene into our free will.
And here's another thing. Actually, I'm glad that she mentioned free will. I was going to pause it at the end of her statement regardless, but she said free will, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good... That's perfect. When we're talking about wokeness and, like, the ability for somebody to be enlightened and that kind of shit, call me crazy. Now, maybe this is just me talking out of my ass, just saying, but if you take a guy and he doesn't know how he believes about aliens or spiritualism or channeling or anything like that, but he's single. And then you have Elizabeth April walk up to him and start explaining this to him. Or you have a dumpy middle-aged woman walk up and explain it to him. I do believe that one might be more effective than the other. This is part and parcel with an interesting kind of little thought experiment where you try and determine how objective do you think one person can be in a very passive, absorbing information kind of scenario. It's weird because, like, if the big thing is that the aliens need us to be enlightened or higher vibration enough to be able to ask for them, well, are we getting there faster by listening to hot chicks rather than not as attractive women? I mean, it just seems like a really shitty and kind of arbitrary distinction that they would make for when they would be willing to, like, step in and get involved in our society. Don't you think? Maybe I'm overanalyzing this. You let me know in the comments if I'm overanalyzing this.
And no interdimensional being, alien, whatever you want to call them, no being out there in the universe is allowed to intervene with anyone else's free will. And then that begs the question, well, how are there the lower vibrational entities and beings like the Dracos and the Anunnaki? How are they here, and how are they invading humanity with their shape-shifting abilities and their technology? How are they able to be here and basically drive fear into the masses? How is that possible? The Galactic...
See, I didn't know that she thought that they were actually, like, bad aliens and they were here on the planet now. That adds a whole new layer to this layer cake. I'm excited.
Federation and every being abides by non-intervention, then how is it possible for these lower vibrational entities to come in and to disrupt us? Now, the problem is that they know the system and they find the loopholes in the system. So say, for example, okay, I'm just going to give you an example. Okay, this card, right? So say for example, like a draconian or reptilian or whatever, right? Say for example, they wanted to like take this card away from me, right? Say this is like truth. This is my truth and they wanted to take this away from me. They can't step into my life and take this truth, this belief system, this card. They can't take this away from me. That would be intervening. They're not allowed to. But what they can do is they can manipulate my entire reality to say, oh, Elizabeth, you don't want that card in your life. You don't need that belief system. You're not going to have that tomorrow. You better get rid of it now, right? So even though they can't actually swoop into our life and they don't have that power to swoop in and take something away from us, they can manipulate fear into our lives so that we start questioning the very essence of who we are. And all of a sudden, we are living in a paradigm of fear, projection, prefrontal cortex, fight or flight mechanisms rather than the freedom of conscious expression and free will, right? So even though they can't
Okay, okay, I gotta pause there. I've been waiting for her to take a fucking breath for a minute, just so I could try and get a word in edgewise. All right. The basis for this idea doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you are like enacting some way of doing a grand conspiracy of changing and manipulating and pushing somebody to do something else or to change their behavior or to lose a physical object, yeah, I would classify that as an interference, 100%. It's just you're doing it more sly, more, one could almost say maliciously, but definitely more manipulatively. How is it? That's a pretty big loophole, don't you think? If this is an enlightened Galactic Federation of Light, don't you think they would have made the rules more specific to make sure that you couldn't do that? Why would they allow that loophole in? It's like the old argument of like, if God made everything, why is there a devil? Seems like kind of an arbitrarily positioned loophole, don't you think? Or just an oversight? I can't believe that an ancient and galaxy-sprawling empire just didn't think of it. It's weird.
take the free will and they can't take things away from us and they can't fully intervene into our lives. They can manipulate our lives, right? And it's up to us to not give our power away to the fear and control dynamic within this planet, right? So super important. So once again, the Galactic Federation is basically a government system for the universe. Cool. Hopefully you guys are all there.
Okay.
And then the second thing is the Galactic Federation, just like our government system, without the corruption, hopefully, the Galactic Federation abides by a set of rules and regulations, okay? And the Galactic Federation only exists, it's only around because of imbalance, because of the dark and the light, right? If we have darkness, we have to have the light, right? And the light is the Alliance, the Galactic Federation, and they are meant to keep everything in balance. Okay.
Doesn't that seem like a bad idea though? Like if you need to have a seesaw between two things that are like fighting for dominance. So then you give the power to have the balance between those things to just one side. Isn't that the problem that happened with the Jedi in Star Wars? Like, we gotta bring balance to the Force. Bring balance to the Force. You assholes are in positions of fucking power all throughout the Galactic Senate. What do you mean, bring balance? You're like on the top. Bringing balance means you gotta knock your asses down in the dirt for a while, which is kind of what happens. I mean, like, I don't know why people don't understand these very basic moral ideas and concepts. Like, what do you mean balance?
Okay, good. I will say that there is corruption. I believe that there's corruption within every system. You know, within this binary universe, you can't get a system that is not corrupt. And I actually just heard the word corrosion. And if you think about it, I'm looking at the driveway now, there's cars in the driveway, right? If you think about a car, right? You've got a car, you've got a physical material object. Over time, there is going to be corruption, which is corrosion. Over time, no matter if it be a pink shirt, there's going to be a black shirt out there. If there's going to be a car, there's going to be a rusted car out there, right? There's going to be corruption and corrosion because in general, that is the way that the universe works. And the only reason why there's corruption and corrosion and darkness is so that we can be challenged, learn, and move forward, right? So we can grow and push ourselves. There is
corruption, dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power, typically involving bribery. The process by which something, typically word or expression, is changed from its original use or meaning to one that is regarded as erroneous or debased. Let's keep looking. There's an ice cream truck outside my house right now. Inducement to wrong by improper or unlawful means, departure from the original or what is pure or correct. And then down at the very bottom, decay or decomposition. I suppose, I guess. But really, like, her analogy is so bizarre. Like, if there's a good car, then out there's a rusted car. Like, what? What? Who? Ooh. All right. Well, that's part 2 of us watching The Truth About the Galactic Federation of Light. The Moon is Hollow. Join us here in a few days for part 3.